Hello, I'm Big Red Boy,
And I'm Kinkerton,
and we're the hosts of the Take It Away, Kink.
Mario Creators Podcast.
So, Kinkerton, would you consider yourself a pillar of the SMW community?
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far, but I've made a ROM hack or two. I've seen a few things here and there.
Wow, amazing.
Indeed, very amazing. So,
hmm
Big Red Boy, would you consider yourself king? Um, Ambassador, if you will, of the Super Mario Maker 2 community?
Yes.
Wow, amazing.
hmm hmm So, Kink, tell the audience what our podcast is about. What are we going for here?
Well, I don't know what we're going for, but I know what we're setting out to do.
hmm Interesting. Please continue.
Right. So now there's a divide between the SMW community and the SMM2 community, which, in all honesty, it kind of bums me out.
Yeah, me too.
But there's something fundamental we can all agree on: fun Mario levels.
Exactly. Now, when I tell people about the podcast, like my neighbor down the road or Farmer John across the way, I get a lot of scoffs, a lot of snickers, a lot of eye rolls because they think this podcast is just going to be about, like what, Mario levels? Oh, you're going to do Mario levels?
See, that's what they probably think. But what they don't know is that we're trying to dig deeper than that. Really dig deep.
Yeah, and we might even dig ourselves into a canyon at that point.
Well, that would be a problem.
Yeah, but we aren't just making canyons here. We're building bridges.
Like the bridge between the SMW and SMM2 communities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
hmm
All right, we have a good show for you all today. We're here with TacosTheCasual, a Twitch streamer who's known for his Kaizo gameplay. How are you doing today, Tacos?
I'm doing pretty fantastic. Played some Kaizo today.
Oh, that's good. What hack are you working on?
I am currently 15 exits into Purgatory. Uh, Absolute banger of a hack.
That's a great hack by Fire. He makes amazing stuff. Brett, I don't think you know who Fire is.
I don't.
He is a Mario World creator. He makes Mario.
Mm,
I was just talking to him actually before we sat down to do this.
interesting.
Yeah, he made a hack called Purgatory, and he's done a few race levels as well for the Blind Kaiser race.
Cool.
Yeah. So Tacos, tell me, when did you initially start playing Mario? What was your, even like from childhood, what was your first Mario experience?
The NES was released, and my parents got one. Was
Oh,
it
so you've been playing since
84
day
or
one.
something? Yeah. I mean, I'm an old man.
Oh, you're not a day over 15.
Right, exactly. So we time traveled is what happened. We went back to the 80s, got it on opening day, and then yeah, Mario ever since.
Nice.
awesome.
And what made you want to start streaming it?
Well, there's a thing like a process that happens. Like you're sitting in the living room, browsing YouTube, not having thought about Mario in 20 years. Focused on a career, growing up, all that stuff. Browsing YouTube, and all of a sudden, you stumble upon Ryukar's YouTube channel. Mario Maker 1 content for days, getting big for the princess.
I remember that, yeah.
And watched that for weeks. And then on, was it February-ish, 2019, I said, you know what? I'm going to go get me a Wii U and Mario Maker. Because I was just like, this is amazing. I have to play it. And I thought, you know what? If I'm going to be playing it, I may as well start streaming. So fuck it. Here we go.
Right.
Right on.
Now, did you start Kaizo right away, or did you play traditional levels first? What was your Kaizo timeline looking like?
Well, I mean, when it was Mario Maker 1, I had never played a ROM hack or even knew ROM hacks were a thing. So early 2019, started streaming, and I was playing. I think the first videos that I've got on YouTube are of me playing endless norm, or not endless normal. It was
100-man.
100-man normal, and being like, yeah, okay, I could do these, da 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 da, and I started switching to 100-man expert. And I was one of those people that were just like, oh my god, the difficulty jump from normal to expert is massive, and I just could not do it.
Yeah.
Were you ever worried that you weren't going to be like good enough? Like first of all, how far after you got the Wii U were you like, I'm going to stream this. I don't care how bad I am or if
Day
I can do
one
this.
of Mario Maker for me was on stream.
Holy cow.
Oh, wow.
That's interesting.
I literally bought my Wii U, used, of course, found Mario Maker, hooked it all up. I had a computer. I was like, whatever. It's me sitting next to my bed with no green screen and no fun stuff in the background. And, I went out and bought a mic. And before I even hooked anything up, I was like, all right, I'm going to set this all up. My name on Twitch was different because I used Twitch like 5 years prior when I was watching and participating in poker streams.
What was your name before?
It was
Bluffer?
It was my name.
Oh, okay.
Your real name.
Okay, you don't have to say that.
And then when I started streaming, I was like, I can't do that. So I changed it to Plain Owl. PlayNowl.
Why Plain Owl?
I was talking with a coworker, and he said something, and it sounded like a Arnold Schwarzenegger impression, just Plain Owl. And I thought that was funny, so I made that the name, and until I could figure out something
That's
better.
That's clever. Plain Owl.
Yeah,
Plain Owl.
it was a much better name than the one that I ended up with.
I don't know. I might steal that with my name changes the way that they are. Plain Owl.
Yeah, you change names like once every, I don't know, month and a half.
Yeah. Every 60 days.
Whenever they'll allow it.
You eventually landed on TacosTheCasual. What's that all about? What's that story?
All right, so when I was living in Vegas, so when I started streaming, I was living in Vegas, and I used to play poker semi-professionally, at a level that offered me a side income. And I was going to hang out at a local poker vlogger's meetup game that he runs every week at one of the casinos. And I went and I hung out there, and I was, just my normal jovial self. Because when you go play cards, you have to put on a persona, you have to entertain people, yada, 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 all of that. So there were drinks involved, and we were doing shots, and we were, playing like a 1-2 game, and we had changed it to a 1-2-10 straddle around, and everyone's drinking and everyone's having a great time. Fast forward to 3 a.m. or so, and it's me and like 5 other people. They're the only people left, including the guy hosting the game.
Ooh.
And there were a couple of drunk idiots at the end of the table just laughing and giggling and pointing, whatever. We were all pretty drunk at that point. And I was wearing a green shirt with like some swirliness on it or something. I don't have the shirt anymore, but it does this green shirt.
Like
They were
tie-dye or
giggling
something?
because they had come up with the name. They were calling me Tacos because my shirt looked like guacamole, and they thought they were the funniest people on the planet. So I told the guy hosting the game, he's like, "Oh my god, that's great. That's your name from now on." I'm like, "That is not sticking. There's no fucking way."
And then it stuck.
And then the next week, I went back to the weekly meetup game that he hosts, and he showed me I was in his phone as Tacos, and I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to embrace it. So I changed my Instagram account from whatever it was before, this whatever account, to Tacos and Chips. And what I did was I went from posting personal stuff to all I posted were pictures of tacos when I would go have tacos and poker chips almost every day because I was playing cards every day. And
I think that's I scrolled through your Instagram one time and I did see all that. I was interested to learn that you were that good at poker. I've dabbled with poker a little bit, but more about the online poker since I just turned 21. I haven't really had the chance to sit down and play poker.
yeah, right on. Online
I think it'd
poker
be fun.
is a bit different than live, but it's still,
I'd
it's still the
imagine,
math
yeah.
and all that.
Yeah, I play Poker Stars.
Yeah, right on.
So you do like math when you're playing poker? You like count cards or something, or what goes on there?
No, it's not counting cards. It's a game of imperfect information, and you have to consider the money that's in the pot, the money that's being bet at any given time, and the odds that you have of making a hand or being able to potentially push someone else off a better hand. So the math is really about the odds of, what cards are out there in the community cards, what am I holding, and what cards can come that benefit me, and what are the odds of those cards coming out based on what I know.
And so it's a game of odds, like, firstly, right?
Yeah,
Calculating that.
absolutely.
And then it's like, then there's that whole other layer of like bluffing and, maintaining, like throwing people off your trail. How much of that do you get into?
In low stakes live poker, bluffing is a lot less important of a skill than playing solid repeatable poker, right? So poker is a long game. Nobody ever really gets the volume you need to be able to plot whether or not you're going to be long-term profitable, right? Just because it's all about the numbers. You need to get more hands in, you need to have more opportunities, and you need to be able to make the right decisions at the right time. Because even if you are making all the right decisions at the right time, you can still lose your ass. If you get all your money in at a 98% favorite to win, 98% of the time you're going to win, but that's not 100%.
Right.
And
Still comes down to odds.
and that 2% loss can happen over and over and over and over and over in the short term. So like you can really feel like you're running really bad and you're never going to win, and you can get tilted about all of that. But the math of it is, if you put that same decision over 100,000 iterations, 98% of the time you're going to be making money. And that's what you have to focus on versus the right now wins or loss. So you have to focus on the long game versus the immediate wins and losses. So at any given session, it might be 3 hours, you might play for 5 hours, you might play for 10 hours. Whether you win or lose in that specific session doesn't matter as much as whether you win or lose over the course of 100 sessions or 1,000 sessions.
Right. Just try to like stay consistent, because if you play the
Exactly.
odds, you'll probably win. Yeah.
Exactly.
So how has that poker, how has poker helped you, or like has that translated that at all into like playing Mario, or does anything extend? I'm kind of going out on a limb, but do you see what I'm asking?
It does a little bit, not so much in the play itself, but as you guys know, you play hard stuff, right? You play hard levels. It's a mental game. You're gonna get crushed and crushed and crushed and crushed and crushed, and then eventually you win.
So it's
Being
the
able to
patience.
stay semi-even keeled through that getting crushed for hours or whatever is, I mean, obviously I don't have it perfected. I get tilted as fuck from time to time, but
I was actually gonna bring that up. But sorry, continue.
But no, I mean that's it, it's nobody's perfect about it. Getting decimated constantly, it just sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And after a while, like the first bit, you expect to lose, right? When I open up a new level in Maker or SMW, I expect the first 20 minutes, half hour of me just dying. Just dying to stupid stuff, figuring things out, not knowing what I'm doing. But when it gets to, okay, now I've seen all the way to, a certain point in the level, I know what I need to do, but I'm unable to do it in a consistent manner, that's when I start getting tilted. Is when the inconsistency is me, and that frustration and that rage really points inward. And over the past couple of years, I've been working really, really hard to not let that like flow out into the camera or anything. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I miss the mark a lot still, but all of that tilt and frustration and everything is 100% focused inward, and it's a journey.
We actually have a question about that.
Yeah.
So,
do you want to ask a Kink or?
I can, yeah. With complaining, everybody does it in the Kaizo community. Everyone sits there and complains about the level and the level design and the creator. They call the creator every single name. I know I did it a lot when I was last streaming. Do you think that's a habit we should work on kicking, like collectively as a community, or do you think it's okay as long as we, say what we liked about the level and praise the level afterwards?
And I kind of want to add, like, I haven't watched you in a while, and I went into your stream just because I knew I'd be interviewing you, and I kind of wanted to like just see what it's all about there lately. And yeah, there was like, you're playing Chambo World, and there was like some screen scroll jank in the last section or something like that, or like the second to last section, and you were like complaining so hard about it. And then at the end of
that wasn't Chambo World, that was oh my god, what was that? I just finished it the other day.
Yeah, it has like an upward auto scroll section to end it with like a nigh, which is another question we want to talk about, but
I don't know.
Well, whatever.
As far as the complaining goes, I think we all need to think more about, the people that create these things. They're not getting paid for it. They're making these things and giving them to the community. Is everybody gonna like everything? No, but you don't have to shit on somebody for creating something.
Yeah, I mainly bring that up with you because if you remember back in, God, what was that, 2019 when I released Optoworld for the first time? And Tofu ripped me a new one on stream. Like, I think people have a hard time putting a person behind the level, Like, there's a person that sat there and poured their hours into it. I mean, at the end of the day, that made me a better creator, Like, I didn't take nothing away from that.
Sure.
If I took nothing away from that, I would have just quit making, but
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it comes with being a creator.
And I think we've all had that moment. One of my really, really early, my first level that I made in Maker, Maker 2, I was so proud of, and I gave it to Shoujo to play, who Shoujo is absolutely amazing. And she played it, and she got to the very end where I had like this off-screen, you have to run and jump and twirl to hit to avoid some spikes or something. And she got to that, looked at the camera and said, no, and exited right there. And I felt so bad.
Oh, no.
I felt so bad. I was like, I never want anybody to feel like that when they play my levels again.
Yeah. Everybody's first
exactly
level
what
is...
happened to me. Yep.
And I just like, from that moment on, there's no like trolley stuff. I might put a Kaizo block somewhere, but there's no like gotchas as far as that just feel bad. I don't know. There's kind of a difference, and I didn't realize it when I created the level, that was how it was gonna feel, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, I'm never doing anything like that again.
Yeah, you haven't made in a very long time, right? Like, when's the last time you made a level?
It's probably been about a year since I've made a maker level. Yeah.
Yeah. Because for me, it's like, it's all about, like, trolls can be fun, but as long as they're, like, avoidable and they're not just, like, the most annoying thing in the world, I don't know. Like, if you're gonna put a Kaiser block, put one Kaiser block. Don't put a row of them.
Yeah,
calling
exactly.
me
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
And don't put. For me, go ahead, put a troll. But once somebody knows the troll is there, make it easily avoidable.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think that's the key, right? So, if you put a Kaiser block, that's great. That'll get somebody on their first run because they waited till the very end to jump or whatever. But then they'll know to jump like one tile back and everything will be great.
Mm-hmm.
But if you then put, another one tile back, just like, well, now you got, where are they? Where does it end? What are you going to do?
Yeah. It's impossible to avoid. It just frustrates the player so much.
Exactly.
But, okay, so I want to circle back a quick to, like, complaining and I think that kind of just, if you're going to make a level, I know you're not getting paid for it, but it's like, you kind of, especially if you're making Kaizo or a troll level or something that, like, a troll level is kind of meant to piss people off in a way, if they aren't in a good mood to be trolled. And then a Kaizo level, like, if they're not at the right skill range and they're just getting tested and, they're going to get tilted if they can't beat the level or think it's too tight or something needs to be fixed. They're going to complain about it. So I think it kind of comes with the job description there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. As a creator, you have to understand that people are going to be, like you mentioned, reaching above their ability level, right? They're going to be trying to break through their skill ceiling. And that can be super frustrating. And some people are going to get really mad or some people are just not going to like the level, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really two parts of it, right? So most people aren't streaming when they're playing stuff. So it doesn't matter if they get mad and they rage and do whatever. And, afterwards they can reach out to the person and be like, hey, that was cool. That was fun. I don't have that, I guess, grace period to calm down. If I start getting really salty about something, you can tell immediately, or at least I feel like you could tell immediately, and I hate that.
Yeah. But after you beat it, you were like, that was great. Like, you're mad, and then you beat the game and you're like, yeah, that was a great hack. I had a lot of fun playing it.
So is it like instant relief when you beat it, or do you gotta take a second to kind of breathe?
I mean, it really depends. Sometimes the relief comes when you see the goal, right? But then you find you celebrate too early, and that asshole is he put a block there, and you're done.
You put one of those Koopas that kick the shell after Grand Puro 2 did it. In every ROM hack, I gotta jump over a shell at the end of the goalpost.
Yeah, I'm
so
guilty
funny.
of that as well.
The meta,
yeah, so am I.
The meta involved in the goalpost troll, like, everybody's like gets to the goalpost and just jumping around, like, trying to like just test the water.
I know something's here. I know there's something.
Yeah, and then the ground falls out from under you because it's a layer 2 level, and it's just.
Oh man, those are the best.
The ones that you don't expect.
It's the unexpected thing, right?
I think it was either Rift 1 or Rift 2 had one of those at the end of like a really hard ghost house level. And the floor just fell out from underneath you. You couldn't tell it was a layer 2 level because all the ghost house levels are like black in the background.
Oh, right.
Can you talk about layer 2 for the SMM2 people?
Okay, so there's like 3 layers, right? Or is there 4 layers? There's 3 main layers that you work with in Lunar Magic. There's layer 1, which is your foreground, and like what you walk on, so that'd be like your ground. And then there's layer 2, the ground that moves.
Okay.
And layer 2 only works in some backgrounds. That's why I was saying, like, it's a black background, so you can't tell if it's layer 2 or not.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the ground falls out from underneath you, because you're on the layer 2 level,
Because like when I think of the layers, I'm thinking like the cave level where the yellow part of the
Yeah, that's
level,
layer 2.
That's
the
layer
yellow
2?
is layer 2. Yep.
Yeah.
Any
okay.
background that like moves up and down or smashes side to side, those are the layer 2 levels. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Any object that's usually static, if it's moving, that's layer 2. Because in vanilla SMW, objects don't move, only sprites move. Like
Okay.
physically move. There's like animated objects as well. That's a whole can of worms.
Yeah. What are skewers?
That's a whole nother discussion.
What are skewers then? Are those layer 2 objects or?
Yeah, those are
Yeah,
layer
they're
2.
just layer 2 objects.
Okay.
But there's also wooden spikes, which are sprites.
Them stinking pencils.
Yeah, pencils. Those are my favorite sprites when making cape levels.
Interesting. Because in Super Mario Maker 2, it's like there's layers, right? There's like the track layer, and I don't know. Like some things you can like layer on top of each other, and I have no idea why. Like skull platforms can just go on top of everything, and like pipes can layer on top of like bridges, but ground tiles can't for some reason. There's just a lot of weird layering going on there. But
Yeah, they had to simplify that a lot to make the Maker editor
Yeah.
approachable.
Yeah, the Maker, I think all in all, the Maker and the Lunar Magic are just, they're not comparable at all. Two
Okay.
completely separate things with how different they are. The only thing they have in common is that you can make a Mario level, basically. That's like the only thing they have in common
yeah.
at their roots.
I mean,
It's very-
they have about as much in common as SMW does with Mario Maker.
Yeah, that's true. And which do you like more? Like on a personal level, what do you have a soft spot for more?
For me, I like them both. They scratch different itches.
Right.
Recently, I've been enjoying playing SMW over Maker, but that can very easily change, and I can go back to playing Maker for 6 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Maker holds a spot in my heart, and SMW is just like banging. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Out of all the ROM hacks that you played, what do you think is your favorite or up there? Like, do you have a top 3 even?
So I was thinking about that earlier today and talking about it on stream a little bit. I have to go with at least the top 3, and this is just like because recent memory, right? My
Right.
top 3 that I've had the most fun with, Ultra Kaiser World 2, Super Chamber World, and Purgatory right now.
Yeah.
Those
Wow.
those are my
Those are
top
great
3 at the moment.
picks. Yeah. All great games.
No kink hacks in there.
Yeah, no kink hacks. Well,
I didn't know Kink made any hacks. I thought it was someone Jake.
yeah, some Jake guy. Actually, on SW Central, I never changed it because you got to contact a moderator, so I just never went through that whole process.
No, Kink made some good hacks too, but I don't
No,
know.
I'm
Top
just-
3, come on.
I'm messing with you.
You mean Stardust, the cape hack, isn't your favorite hack of all time?
That was a fun one.
Yeah. On top of like cape levels and stuff, what is your favorite gimmick in a ROM hack?
I'm a traditional platformer guy. If it's fast platforming, that's my favorite thing. I think all the gimmicks have something going for them as long as they're used well. Like today I was playing Purgatory, and there were the gimmick was on off water ice changing, and it was awesome.
Yeah, that
The
level
things
is
people
really
are able
cool.
to pull off it's absolutely mind blowing.
I was literally just telling Fire that before, because we were talking about, we were both watching your stream. And, he brought up that you're playing that level, and I was like, oh, I love that level. He's like, yeah, Taka's had a lot of fun with it too.
I mean,
That's
it
interesting.
kicked my ass, that one, but it
Oh,
was
yeah,
super
same.
fun.
That did a number on me, the item swimming.
So I guess
Really
that kind
got
of
me.
leads into it. Oh wait, no, I guess you kind of answered it. So like, do you like chocolate or vanilla levels more, or like hacks? I guess.
I like all of it. I don't ever look at a hack and be like, oh, this is chocolate, I'm not playing it, or oh, it's vanilla, I'm not gonna play it. I'm not in the mood for whatever shenanigans is in this.
Mm-hmm.
I in my mind, as long as the levels are fun, I don't care what the mechanic is.
True. And I think it goes with what you said about how the gimmick, if it's done well, like if there's just chocolate, too much chocolate could just mean like it's completely unreadable and like you don't understand what half the things are doing in the level. But like if they teach you like the new thing that's going on and at the beginning and like that's the theme of the level, I can see chocolate being like insanely readable too.
Yep.
Just as readable as vanilla.
And if I had to pick something that I didn't really care for most of the time, I would have to say anything that takes regrabs away from you. So
double jump.
Double jumps or that kind of thing. Those can be really, really hard to get right because in SMW, regrabbing is everything. Every single jump is regrabbed somehow.
So what'd you think about my double jump level, Tacos? Let's put you on the spot here.
It was fine. It was fast platforming and a lot of just hold jump. Right?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to build it around. Yeah, just hold jump.
If you don't, if the gimmick is like you just hold jump on all the jumps, then you're fine. But if there's something that like looks like you might need to regrab, but it's obviously it's around a spot where you're gonna need the double jump around another place or something, it can be confusing and awkward, and getting out of that muscle memory is really hard.
Oh yeah, for sure.
What's your opinion on Shell-Centric SMW levels and like the kind of like I think the Super Mario Maker community kind of brought that over, right? With Team Shell and everything.
Oh no! Shells have been a thing of.
They've been around.
They've been
really?
around forever.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like
I know
heavy
Space
shell
Pig
use
really
like that.
popularized them in Maker. With Team Shell and all of that, but yeah, shells have been a huge part of Mario forever.
I'd say the more advanced shell stuff, like advanced shells and like Sheffy. I mean, Sheffy came out a pretty long time ago, but you didn't see. Sheffy's a really popular shell hack, Red.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's
But you didn't
older
see
than like
stuff
Team
like-
Shell and that whole gang.
Don't know actually, but you didn't see stuff like Intersheller or like Shellax or Three Islands of Shells, like popular shell hacks nowadays, up until more recently. So
Right.
there has been a shell meta, but it just hasn't been as widespread as it is now.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Is like I just didn't see any of them when I saw people playing ROM hacks. They're more just like platforming and like some shell stuff going on. But like once the Team Shell people got bored of Team Shell, I just saw like a million shell hacks pop out of nowhere. And
Yeah.
I think the general sentiment I've heard from the SMW community is like somewhat split on shells. So I kind of wanted to hear.
Sheffy 1 came out in 2018.
Okay.
So I don't know. That's pre Mario Maker 2, so
Yeah, definitely. So
Yeah.
okay, sorry.
Well, I mean, shells were even a big thing in Mario Maker 1.
yeah, there's Team Shell in Mario Maker 1, wasn't there?
I mean, my experience in Maker 1, I never did a shell jump in Maker 1, but there were
Me either, yeah.
there were some sick shell levels in Maker 1 because they had things like mid-airs and stuff in there as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's true, because there was a Team Midair in Mario Maker 1.
There
God
was
bless
teams
him.
in Mario Maker 1. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's Team Midair, Team Precision.
Yeah, almost
Yeah.
almost nothing that we see in Maker 2 is new. They
Yeah,
they had all of
it's
that in
been
Maker
around.
1.
What about claws?
Claws are new. So are Blowy
Team
Joey's.
Claws, Team Zelda, obviously as well.
Yeah.
Icicles.
The only Zelda we had was the costume, which they got rid of costumes for some reason.
Man, I miss the costume so much.
You
Yeah,
could
those-
play as like Samus. You could play as like any Nintendo character.
They had Bowser, they had Jampoo Girl, where
Yeah.
every time you jumped, Jampoo, Shampoo.
They all had unique animations and they all had unique like ending music whenever you touch the goalpost.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. What's your opinion on shell levels in SMW? Do you like them?
Oh, I love shell levels. A good friend of mine, as a good friend of mine says, shell jumps are free in SMW. Cat makes.
Good cat, good old cat.
I think I've seen him around.
Yeah, Cat Makes is a good homie, and shell jumps are free in SMW.
Shell jumps are free in SMW. Except if you tell me to do a shell jump, I probably couldn't.
But yeah, I'm a big fan of shell
hack.
levels. I've played Shellax, was really fun.
Shellax was really good. I remember working with Fry and B on that when he was first learning Lunar Magic. And I was like, really? You're gonna use all this knowledge I'm giving you to make a shell hack? And then Dolphin did the same thing.
Dolphins was Interstellar, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't played that one yet. I gotta check it out.
It's really good. I didn't beat it, but what I did play was really good. And obviously, since I helped him learn Lunar Magic, of course it's good, you know?
Oh, that's
Of
fair.
course it's
Obviously.
amazing. Yeah. Since
Yeah,
I'm the one who...
as far
coached
as,
him.
like... Yeah. I enjoy them.
You like
I'm
them better
terrible
than,
at them. I'm terrible.
You like them better than SMM2 shell levels, or what do you think?
Maker shells are so hard.
Yeah.
So in Maker, your window for success in doing a shell jump is really small. It's what, like 2 frames, 3 frames you
I
have
think
to
it's
throw.
3 frames, yeah.
And if you move over to SMW, the window for success on any shell jump is like you've got what feels like an hour that you can just relax, kick back, have a drink, throw the shell, you'll land on it.
And you can like adjust for it with the regrab too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
you
why
know
it
you're
makes it
gonna
so
be-
easy.
Yeah.
You know,
'Cause
if
regrabs
if
and-
you're too high, you can let off jump and fast fall for, you know, obviously these are like micro movements, but all that whole range of motion is so much greater and so much more flexible in SMW that it makes literally doing a shell jump super easy.
Interesting.
That's why, like, thumb shredder levels are...
Possible.
I don't want to say... Yeah, I don't want to say popular, but people do them a lot, because... In Mario World, rather. Because, at the end of the day, we don't have all the cool, fancy shell tricks that Mario Maker has. So, like, there's no reclaims. We talked about this last time. So, the difficulty comes more from the setups than from the trick itself that you find with, like, Mario Maker shell levels.
Right.
Because you can just throw, 50 reclaims back to back, call it a day.
Yeah, but that wouldn't fly in an SMW hack. Nobody
Yeah.
would enjoy that.
Exactly. And besides, they're not even possible.
Well, I mean, people don't even... I personally don't even enjoy when I have to do the same trick 3 times in a row.
Okay, so
I don't think
our
anybody does,
reclaim,
yeah.
I think, is the shell jump off the 1F0. I think that's our reclaim. The one that nobody wants to do anymore.
Are you talking about the bump?
Yeah, when you bump it off the 1F0.
Are you talking about like as you're falling down, you hit it with your butt, and then it hits a wall and comes back, and then you bounce off
Yes,
it?
absolutely.
That trick is not possible in Super Mario Maker. First of all, because we don't have 1F0s, but like if you bonk something, you're immediately above it, or no, you're below it. So it's just gonna like hit you and kill you, or go over your head. And I think that's so weird. Like, do shells fall at a different speed than Mario in
Everything
SMW?
falls slower than Mario.
That's so cool. I wish that was like, because the only thing that does that in Super Mario Maker 2 is snowballs as they're rolling, like, and I guess like the only throwable things, I should say.
Red, you need to get into Lunar Magic and make a hack.
You need to just come to the
Or
cool
just
side.
make a level. Make a race level for ROM hack races or something. I think you'll fall in love with SMW and just go to town.
I didn't even think about that. A race level would be a perfect start for you.
Yeah, maybe.
It's not a big commitment. You make something cool, you have a good time with it, or you don't, and whatever.
Yeah, and they already have a base ROM set up that you just use. You don't have to insert anything custom.
Oh, okay, cool.
And
that's
you've got the
thing for
wealth
me.
of knowledge that is Kinkerton.
Yeah, you have me.
Can't get my disposable. No, what I'm trying to say is that the thing for me is just that barrier to entry. It just seems like if I'm gonna, I've said this for a while now, and I just have never done it. And this kind of leads into like what I want to talk about next is programming. Like if I'm gonna learn Lunar Magic, I might as well just learn how to make my own video game in Unity and just make a platformer, because like messing around with ASM just kind of seems like a nightmare.
You don't have to do any of that.
Yeah.
Well, I'd want to. That's the thing.
You can, for sure, but you don't have to do any of that. You can take a vanilla game and make just amazing stuff.
Right.
And even if you want to use some of the other ASM, if you want to make motor skills, if you want to do screen wrap, you don't have to do any programming. You just run a command and it inserts it in there and you have it.
Right.
Yeah, there's hundreds of things that are pre-made for you to use.
Mm-hmm.
And like if you can think about it, it's already there. And there's like in the help Discord, there's commissions now, so you can pay people to make it for
D
you.
to the fourth and stuff like that. That's so cool.
Oh yeah,
well,
D
she's
to
taking
the
a
fourth
break
is amazing asset.
I think. But she has a very extensive library in her Patreon that's like free to use. I started subscribing to her Patreon just because I was using a lot of her stuff, and I felt bad that I was like using it without paying. So that's why I started subscribing to her Patreon.
You gotta support the creators, you know?
Exactly. Because I was like scrolling through there, and I was using it more than SMW Central for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I subscribed to
wild
the guy that made the Mario Maker 2 API.
I'm not familiar with.
Jakku?
No. I think Jakku might use this guy's API. He has an API where you can make calls with level codes and get all of the information.
Yeah.
I used it in my viewer level bot, and I was like, this is a great tool. So I subscribed to his Patreon for several months.
Oh.
The Rambling something?
I don't know.
Wait, what did Dram make? Didn't he make something?
Who?
Dram.
Oh, Dram made a Dram bar, which like is like this thing that whenever the screen goes black and it sees a X on the screen, it knows that you died and it adds like 1 to your death counter. It also like when you start a level, it like scans the top yellow bar and it like does some AI machine learning thing to
grabs the code and the creator and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
There's something that's like it's like a virtual camera app thing that you install in OBS and it reads your screen as you're doing it.
Yep, that's
gives you a little overlay with the info.
He might have made something else, but that's what I know for sure he's made.
Who made that?
Dram. They call it the Dram bar.
Like Dram?
Yeah.
Like Dram.
Like
Dram.
the
Like
Dram?
Yeah, like the Dram. Like Speedrunner Dram.
Holy shitters.
Yeah. He hasn't been around in forever.
Yeah. It's cool.
I think
those tools
he
are
made
really
a couple Mario Maker 2 levels, didn't he?
I don't
idea.
know. I have no clue.
That's the other thing with me. I can't remember 10 minutes ago, let alone who made something.
It's fair. No, but let's talk about programming since we were talking about that a little bit. I know that you're into that. So when did you start doing that? Like, what kind of got you into it? And just tell us your story.
All right. So I've been writing code since I was a kid, and I do it professionally now. My day job is writing code and making sure 6 months from now, me doesn't hate current me for being stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But what got me into it was way back when multi-user BBSs were fairly new, and you had to dial in, and it was all text-based. There was a game called Major Mud. It's a multi-user dungeon where you make a character and you run around, you kill stuff and kill other people and take their stuff and, you know, adventure stuff. And it had a leaderboard for experience, right? So you gain experience, you gain levels, you fight harder stuff, you gain more experience. And there was a leaderboard, and I wanted to be number 1 on the leaderboard, but I didn't want to put in the time.
So you hacked it?
So, well, I didn't hack it. What I did was I used the scripting language for the program I was using called Telemate at the time. The scripting language in that program to make a script that would play the game for me.
Wow.
Interesting.
So I would put in a path that it would take and tell it, you know, which monsters it should fight before other monsters. Should there be more than one in a room? It would move, fight a monster, move. If there was something there, fight it. If I needed to rest, it would stop and just chill for a bit. And I made it in a way that I could log in with an alt account or a friend's account and whisper to my character and get reports on like how much experience per hour, how much money it was making, how much gold did it put back into the bank, all of that stuff. Yeah, and then it just turned into, I really like telling computers to do things and then having it do it.
Yeah, that's really cool.
But now I'm an old man and I'm just like, it's a job.
Yeah. There's part of me that wants to get that excitement back of when you make something that you're like really proud of, and that's kind of why I want to make a video game. But that whole like, I solved the puzzle, it's running, it's doing its thing, and I did it. You just feel so cool, like when you make something, and
that's what keeps me at my current career. Actually, is the fact that I work on a web app, and every day thousands of people are using that software that I built and I maintain and I enhance to improve their lives, which is mind-blowing to me. And I can see the effects of that by clicking a button and looking at the list, you know?
You get the same gratification from that as you did from that game that you got, or is it just the whole, this is a job and it's
Well,
nothing past
the
that?
job is a job. The joy that I get from people using and bettering their lives using a tool that I've created, that's a whole different thing.
it's validating because you're like, I'm good at this, I did this, and people are using it. I can see that.
Yeah,
Like,
having a positive impact on people in general, you know what I mean? It's really, really cool.
but yeah, I see what you mean. Like, because you're not like, if you had free time, you wouldn't just be doing that. Like, you wouldn't choose to do that. I get it. Like,
I
it's a
used
job.
to a lot. Now I like to play video games in my free time and yell at people on the internet.
Well, yeah, but programming's like, it can be applied to, like, you know, anything. So in your free time, you wouldn't be maybe you would. Maybe you'd build a
Well,
web
I mean,
app,
I made my bot. So
Yeah.
I mean, I
Taco's
still
bot.
write code when I want to do something, but I haven't had a personal project that I was passionate about in years.
Right. Yeah, same with me. And I'd really like to do it again. It's because, like, there's nothing like it. It's so fun.
Have you ever thought about making a video game, Tacos? That's something you guys could do together. I feel like you guys are at the same, around the same
Yeah.
level. Maybe, I don't know how I want to word this. I feel like you guys could work well together on a video game. It's like a pet project.
Yeah, possibly.
You know, that sounds cool, but the reality is my free time is so very limited. I'm very strongly of the opinion that if you're working 40 hours a week for someone else and you're not putting in that amount of time working on something for yourself, then you're falling behind every day.
Interesting.
So I punch, I don't really punch a clock, but when I'm done with my 9 to 5, 8 to 5, and I start streaming, I mean that not only is that like, oh, I'm trying to build something there or whatever, but that keeps me sane and keeps me out of trouble. And sure, it has not been profitable as of yet, but maybe one day it'll be profitable and it'll be like a little side income or whatever. But
Yeah. And
you know, I've also got, you know, all the YouTube stuff going, the TikTok stuff going, and
and you have a cool editor that does that for you, huh?
I've got a cool editor that manages some of the YouTube stuff. I've got another cool editor that manages other
Both of them are
YouTube
pretty
stuff.
cool. Yeah.
I'm not gonna name any names.
Right. Yeah, but just know that they're really, really cool. They're the best in the business.
So Thab on one of his streams says, like, he said once at least that his philosophy is if you go into streaming, you should just do it because you enjoy it and not expect a dime out of it.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I think that's like, because if you expect something out of it, I think it just shows, you know, like on stream.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it just is kind of toxic.
And you know, my streams are what they are, right? It's just me playing some games and hanging out with people who decide to spend some time with me.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, if it's one person, if it's no people, whatever, you know, it's I'm gonna play games, and if I'm playing games, I may as well be streaming. Luckily, I have a few people that decide to show up almost every day, and you know, we hang out and we chat and we bullshit, and it's a fucking amazing time.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, am I expecting anything else out of it? Of course not. And the day that I feel like I have to hit that go live button instead of I want to hit the go live button,
right,
is I think that'll be the end of it. I'm like, oh no, that's not what I'm here for.
That's kind of why I stopped. I was like, I was thinking about it and I was like, I don't enjoy this as much as I thought I would.
Yep, same.
Yeah.
That's exactly why I stopped. I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah,
Now
I
it's
mean,
just
if you're
for,
not
like,
having a good time with
occasional-
it, then there's no real point in doing it.
Mm-hmm. I think I might give it another try now that I'm in a different headspace, but I don't know. It's I definitely had that moment where exactly what you're talking about. Where you're like, the day that I just don't want to do it, I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah, and I've had several days where I have a schedule that I put out, you know, but you know, some days I don't feel like it, so I'm just like, all right, tonight I'm just gonna sit on the couch and watch some TV.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to have that freedom, you know, with streaming.
Yeah. And that's, you know, the other part of that is I'm not trying to make a career out of it. I'm not trying to do that. I have a career. I have a good job. I you know, I've got those things. This is leisure time for me.
Yep.
So do you think if you got to the point where you could quit your day job, would you?
It's a good question.
I mean,
I think it depends on how much you're making, right?
Yeah.
it would definitely depend. It would have to be such an astronomical amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
Because at my age, I have to start thinking about things that, you know, a lot of people that are streaming and are making a living on it just don't have to think about. Right? Like, I have to think about, you know, my retirement. I have to think about, you know, what am I going to do when inevitably my hips give out? You know, what I need health insurance. I need these things that, you know, you just can't get on a job like that.
Well, let's say you're making enough where you can buy your own health insurance equal to the amount. You're making the same amount of money. You're putting as much as you are currently into your retirement. Like, would you do it? Would you jump?
I can't honestly say that I would. I don't feel like I would want to depend on streaming to have an income.
Yeah.
It's a very it's a very ever-changing thing. Barb talked about this one time. He said it's here today, but it can be completely gone tomorrow. And
Yeah.
I think that kind of rings true.
And
with
you know what?
streaming.
Maybe tomorrow or whatever in this hypothetical, maybe I am making $200,000 a year, $300,000 a year off of streaming, which is mind-blowing kind
nuts,
of numbers.
yeah.
But next year, it might work out for a couple of years. But then when it's done and you have to get back into that career, especially because my career is in tech and software, I would be a million years behind anybody, and there's no way that I would be able to get back in. They'd be like, what were you doing these past couple of years? And they'd just be like, well, I was playing video games on the internet.
I don't know,
Well,
man. You could probably get back in somewhere.
You're
It wouldn't
a
be
lead
like,
developer kind of person. We're gonna hire you right off the bat. I don't know. It's the security that comes with having a career driven career is something.
yeah.
But that for me to not depend on my career versus streaming would have to be so astronomical. It wouldn't even be. It's not even worth thinking about.
I feel like you could take a 5-year hiatus or something and come back, and maybe it wouldn't be like as where you were, but I feel like the jobs in tech right now are pretty
If
needed.
the other part of that is, I don't want to be like the 55-year-old curmudgeon trying to get a job in some scrum team full of 20-year-old kids.
Mm-hmm.
I've been around 20-year-old kids. No,
You're around a 20-year-old kid right now.
you're
Well,
a
actually,
rare
I'm
breed,
21
Kink.
now.
You're a rare breed.
Yeah. I'm no longer part of the 20-year-old kid
Oh,
clan. Now I'm 21.
wow.
He's done it.
I did. I outlived my 20s. I think that's a good spot to switch over to Twitter questions if you guys want.
Can I just ask one more question here?
Go for it.
So like right at the beginning of this, you're like, I try to do, or I can't remember what exactly, but you said, so 6 months from now me doesn't hate 6 months ago me, or something like that. What does that mean? What did you mean by that?
Well, when you're writing software, when you're writing code, your code and your style is always progressing. If you're not progressing, you're falling behind, and you're going to be obsoleted in no time.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at code from 6 months ago in that, had I known then what I know now view, and I think, oh man, why did I do it that way? Or oh, that's so inefficient. I wish, past me's a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
Because now I have to go back in and fix this weird thing that I should have accounted for then. So what I mean by that is I need to today go over my code with a fine-tooth comb and my team's code, and make sure that all of us are writing code that 6 months from now we'll be able to look at and see, and it'll make sense, and we'll understand why it works the way it does.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to break going from 1 to 5 users when you put it out into a production environment and you've got 5 to 10,000 or more.
Right.
So my whole thing is I'm kind of a gatekeeper of code smell. So if I look at something, I'm like, I don't really get this, or I understand that you think this works, but I don't know why you think this works. Or I see something and I know that future me is gonna hate it for some reason. Sometimes I'm just like, heck future me, and future me can suck it. He'll deal with that later.
That's kind of how it is at my job. Like sometimes the deadline's just so looming that I'm just like, yeah, I know this code is not the best and it could probably be refactored, but like I'm just gonna I know it, we've tested it, we know it works, we're gonna just stick it over there and we know what to put in, what pops out, but like I don't think it's worth at this point like trying to refactor it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and honestly, there's a fine line in all of that, right? So you don't want to over-engineer something you don't need to,
Right.
because then you're losing efficiencies that way as well. So it's a balance, but at the end of the day, making sure that when you or the next person who's working on that project, or maybe even 3 people down the line working on that project, open up your code base and go, oh, okay, this all makes sense. Or they can open it up and go, oh my God, this is all spaghetti and I hate you all.
Yeah. No, right now at my job, I'm not going to say what we're like where I work, but we're porting something that's like 30 years old, and we have to like dig through like old code bases and kind of, use their logic, because it's just there, and it would just take forever to like redo the entire thing,
Yeah.
based on new
Updating
logic.
legacy code is a nightmare.
It is a nightmare, and that's why I'm kind of like, looking to get off this project, but whatever. And I realized, me out of school, like just out of school, was like a purist, and was like, every piece of code I write has to be, the complexity has to be the least it can be, no matter like what the use of it is, even if it's only for like sample sets of like 100 or less. Like it has to just be like perfect code. And now it's like, I don't care about, the efficiency. That can take the like second place to maintainability and readability. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Where do you kind of fall on that?
I
trade-off?
100% agree.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the most efficient thing on the planet right away, but it does have to be maintainable.
Yep.
The last thing you want is your job security to be that nobody else can read your code base. That's another thing that I strive for, is to make sure that what I have in my head on my team, that I try to get all of that out into everyone else's heads as well.
Right.
Because I don't want to be I don't want to be needed because I'm the only one that knows how to do something. I want to be needed because I know how to
solve the problem,
solve
a generic problem.
Solve problems and how
Yeah.
to architect solutions and that sort of thing. So
Exactly.
making it so that literally anybody could pick up my job and do it and pick it up and be like, okay, I can run with this. That's my goal.
That's kind of cool. In a way, it does like lessen your job security, but I think in a way, it's like kind of double-edged swordy, if you know what I'm talking about. But
Luckily, I work. The company that I work for is really good about. What is it? I can't remember what the phrase is, but everybody on the team wants to better themselves and the company, and then I can't remember.
what's the sentiment behind it, I guess?
Something about make it so that you're not needed, but no, hold on. Did you scratch all of that? I can't remember what it was.
That's fine. That's fine.
The company invests in the employees in such a way that they can find other things to do, but don't want to. If that makes sense, right? So we try to make sure that everybody is so happy with what we're doing and happy with how we're doing it, that even if we get offers to do other things for more money or bigger responsibilities or whatever, it's almost always turned down.
I see. They just want to make you love your job enough to. Yeah, I hear you. And that's like a good.
I mean, it's that
retention
nice of a place
mechanism.
to work is the thing.
That go into your previous answer to you wouldn't quit your job to stream?
I mean, that's part of it, obviously, right? So
Yeah.
I really get a lot of satisfaction from what I do. And you know, if a side income became more than my standard income, maybe I would lessen my time, but I would still be involved to a point that I would be allowed to.
For sure.
And there's always more to build, right?
Mm-hmm. You've
All right.
Oh, whatever. We'll just go on.
No,
I think we
go
talked
on.
about programming enough.
All right. Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm good with it. But that
All
was
right.
fun to talk about.
Yeah. All right. Are you guys ready for Twitter questions then?
I am.
Hit me.
All right. First one is from Ahmed Sela. When is your ROM hack coming out?
Probably never. I have a collection of levels that I've put together over several different base rounds, and
Yeah.
the work of bringing them all into the new hotness base round from SJ and Charlie the Cat is so
I'm using
daunting
that.
to me that I'll probably never do it.
That's another person I want to get on here one day, is SJ. I think that would be pretty cool to talk about his base ROM and the amount of work that went into that. No,
Yeah, because that base ROM is absolutely amazing.
it's so extensive. It's a whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Red, you don't even know.
Well, I
amount of
understand
work.
the concept of a base. It's like a template for, so you can you don't have to install a whole bunch of crap.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the next question is from Aurora Roses. Aurora. When learning Lunar Magic, what was your biggest hurdle with the program?
Just the initial barrier to entry is really tough. Going from having no knowledge of it to what does the red poison mushroom do? Who knows?
No.
I still can't tell you what that does. There's just
Graphics
so many
bypass.
options
Yeah.
that it's overwhelming. I think that's the hardest part, is that it can be overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, I figure when I teach people how to use Lunar Magic, I do that quite a bit. I kind of try to work on one section at a time. Like we'll learn what the layer 3 and layer 2 and layer 1 does, and then we'll learn what the sprites do, and then we'll learn about the graphics bypass and the overworld editor and the layer 3 and how to make your own custom layer 3 and how to import graphics and how to import custom sprites, Uber ASM. I try to take it in stride,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And these days I've done all of those things, but I can't remember how to import a background. I have to look that up every time. I can't remember how to import or add a custom sprite. I don't know what bit to flip on that to make it do left versus right or whatever. I can't remember any of that stuff.
Kink, you should write a little textbook or something, or you know what I mean.
See, I was thinking about it, but then I was like, Dan of Most Trades has a wonderful
He does.
series of tutorials.
Okay.
We
could reference
That's where
them.
I always send people.
Yeah.
Like, how do I get started? And I say, go to Dan of Most Trades YouTube. He's got a 6 video series.
Yeah,
That goes
basically.
it goes from where to start, how to do X, how to do Y, how to do Z, and it's very well done and very well put together.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you go through those videos and then watch through Barb's 3-hour Q&A with his chat, you'll be in a pretty good spot.
Yeah.
Now I did it the other way around. I watched Barb's Q&A with his chat and was completely overwhelmed.
Yeah, he does not do a good job. He does a good job at, I don't know.
Well, his goal, and he says right at the beginning that his goal is not to teach you how to do Lunar Magic. His goal was to answer questions from chat, which he
Yeah.
did great.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
And
it was
that's
more
good.
of just like I don't know anything about it, but I think what Kink was trying to say is he doesn't do a good job breaking the ice on a completely new maker. in the.
Yeah, he doesn't do any custom stuff. He doesn't even touch any of the custom stuff or what's custom and what's not custom. He does touch on map 16 quite a bit, which is a very integral part of.
Gotta save your map 16.
Exactly.
Gotta
That's a
save
rule
it.
in my chat. Is to save map 16. Because you have to.
You really do.
Yeah. The next question is from Groggy P. From your humble beginnings, what was your highlight of your streaming career thus far?
The highlight of my streaming career. Killed a dragon yesterday.
Ooh.
That was pretty cool.
Oh, what game?
I'm currently obsessed with Elden Ring.
Oh, okay. I need
yeah,
to
that was
start that.
It was a great game. I
Yeah.
100%ed that.
I killed the flying dragon in the swamp.
Ah, yes.
Killed that dude.
Yeah.
Started using a giant anchor as a weapon, which is amazing. It's fucking hilarious to me.
The big weapons are a lot more fun than the small weapons, in my opinion. strength
All I know
builds.
is I killed something a while ago and it dropped a giant anchor, and I said I have to use that.
Like a ship, like a pirate ship anchor.
Like a ship anchor. It's like if you know the 4-prong fishing hooks.
Yes.
It's like that, only just massive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the goofiest thing, and the character I made, he's got this like giant nose and deformed face, and he's running around with no gloves and no shoes and no pants, and just this chest guard and a cape and a giant anchor.
That's a wonderful mental image.
It's the goofiest thing that's ever happened, but it's so much fun. It's so much fun.
I always like that.
And I killed Margit.
Oh yeah, he was a pain.
And I found the Wolverine claws. So now I'm switching between a giant
Bloodhound.
anchor and Wolverine claws. It's just stupid fun. It's amazing.
What I did late game when I had my dexterity leveled up is I'd have a great sword in my right hand, and then I'd two-hand it, and then when I needed to move around quick, I switched over to the Bloodhound claws, and so I could like dash around. I don't know if you messed with the ability on that.
Oh yeah. I just got it yesterday, so I haven't really explored a lot of it.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's so much fun. I don't know if that's like a highlight of the highlight of streaming for me. But I mean, just honestly, when somebody comes into chat and says hi, I'm just like, okay, this is great. It's the best day.
That's sweet. Those are those canned moments that we need in this podcast. You know,
Yeah.
those heartwarming moments.
Well, I mean, to be fair, a dead chat is, it's boring for everybody, right?
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it happens, and everybody, unless you're just like a huge streamer, like everybody has like lulls in chat, and
Absolutely.
so, I don't know. It's not, especially like when you're like the only one talking. Like you look at chat for like the last 10 minutes, and you're like the only one saying stuff to the streamer. Like it's fine, but it's like it's nice when there's.
As a viewer too, yeah, I totally get that.
And then you feel bad, like I kind of want to stop now.
Yeah, you're like at first you're like, well, maybe I'm like dominating the conversation here, not letting anybody else in, and then you're like, well, I'm gonna go do something, but I feel bad because now the conversation's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I do feel bad when I'm doing that, and then I gotta leave, or I gotta do something else, or I'm working, and then I gotta take my eyes off of the Twitch chat, and I'm no longer the only person populating, and I just feel bad for the streamer because they're alone.
Yeah, I don't really let that get to me too often. I mean, if I'm making progress on a level or something, I'm good like narrating and doing stuff. But as soon as I get into a spot where it's like this has turned into a grind, and I'm just dying to the same level for an hour or 2 or 15, and if chat's dead during those moments, I've got nothing to say.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna say? Oh, I hit the muncher again. I've got nothing to say. Nobody's saying anything because you gotta riff off other people, right? You gotta have the conversation sometimes to help out.
When Aurora was playing Mario Maker, she made a comment because she never plays Mario Maker, and she was like, This is why this is so hard to talk and play Mario Maker, because you're just like, what do you say? Like, you're so concentrated on like not dying, and then you're just like, oops, I died. Like, what do you say?
Yeah, there's that too. I mean, I'm to the point where I literally can't play games unless I'm streaming.
Oh wow.
If I have to do a singular focus on a game, I'll turn it off because I'm bored. I have to have that split where I'm looking, and even if chat is empty, I have to look over there to see if something happened.
That's interesting. It's the opposite for me. That's kind of why I don't stream, is because I can't play video games if I'm being watched. I suck at it. And that's probably why I never went like, because I'm really good at Rainbow Six Siege, right? Which is like a shooter. And I tried streaming it, and then just all my skill immediately left me.
Interesting. Yeah.
And it was just such a problem for me, and I couldn't stream when I was playing at the level that I was playing at, like the highest rank, which is champion, and trying to stream to show people how good I was, like pre Mario, like when I was on Mixer, back when that was a thing.
You were on Mixer? Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And way back in the day, and then I'd get like viewers, and I couldn't talk to them, or I'd like lose all concentration and all focus, and I couldn't play the game, because like I was playing against like the best players in, you know, the United States, and I just couldn't keep up when I was talking to chat or talking to.
You got performance anxiety?
Yeah, dude, listen, most guys get it. Calm down.
It happens to everyone.
Yeah, exactly. It happens to everyone.
Don't most of the people that stream those high intensity games like that though, aren't they largely ignoring chat while a match is happening?
Yes, they do ignore chat, but I felt bad. And it was just distracting because it'd be out of the corner of my eye, and I'd see it, and I'd be like, oh,
yeah,
God.
That's fair.
But that's kind of what makes a good streamer, right? Is like the people who can do shell jumps and then read chat out of the corner of their eye. Like, it's insane.
Yeah. Mike does a good job at that.
I know he does. Like,
when he's playing at this high. Yeah, Beecham and Thab.
Yeah, like pretty much everybody who's still doing it.
Yeah.
But,
when you get to a certain point, though, if you've been grinding a level where you can actually look at chat and be playing the level while it's just in the periphery.
Yeah, it's just the muscle memory at that point. You're just like, I totally... I do that when I'm making levels, too. I'll just, like... I won't even be looking at, like... Because I'll make a level, and a lot of time I'm making, like, a custom auto-scroll level, and in order to test those, you have to test them, like, from the beginning every single time. And, you'll only want to test, like, a part, like, 20 seconds into the level. So for those first 20 seconds, I'm, like, barely looking at the screen. I'm, like, checking my phone and shit. Just because at that point it's just muscle memory.
So Red, we turn this on you. How long does one of your levels take for you to make?
Ooh.
Anywhere from like 4 to like 20 hours, depending on the level. Because like if I have to make a mechanism from scratch, it's like that's like half the level, right? That's like, and then once you get that mechanism in place and you start toying around with it, that's like, you know, I don't know, it's easier, you know what I mean? Like, like the level just kind of falls in place at that point. But for like my last levels, I don't know if you've been like following this like Team Shell stupid series.
I've been following that shenanigans.
Yeah, so those take like not as long. I still spend like anywhere from 4 to 8 hours on them, just because like I want to do interesting things. Like I want to do like a traditional like surfy shell level, and then like have a gimmick and center it around like, you know, my last one was like the dark and doing jumps off spiny shells, or like, you know, snowballs or something. There's like usually a gimmick going on, and I try to do like bring that gimmick back in and do interesting things with it. And it takes a while. Like sometimes I'll have to like go take a shower, or like, you know, like walk away for a while just to like think of more like variations to do with the theme. But yeah, just a while. I love doing it though. So
yeah, that's totally fair. I know the reason I asked is because when I'm making a level, yeah. Anyway, that time range is 100% accurate. Like anywhere from 4 to like 25 hours.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of. Dude, some people spend insane amounts of time on making levels. Like, I don't know.
There's levels that I started last year that I've never gotten around to finishing, or that I'm still like picking away at.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm currently remastering an old ROM hack, my Opto World, and there's levels that I like work on like a little bit every week. It's just I don't even know how many hours I have poured into like one level.
I'll often just go into the editor, and I don't even like consider this as like time making the level. I'll just like go into the editor and just mess around with different things and not even start a level and just see like what's like a cool like jumping out, like the blank slate, and then I'll just like start putting like a POW on something and seeing like what happens, and if it leads to like a cool setup, then I'll try to like work other things around it. But I wouldn't consider that like part of the level design
that's
process.
just messing around.
Exactly. But that's time too. So
Yeah.
I don't know. But sorry, we can continue. Thanks for asking.
Kess asks, "What's the story behind that shirt? When did you start wearing it?" I'm assuming that's an inside
The old
joke.
orange shirt. So, back when I was playing poker every day, there's a stereotype of a poker reg, right? A regular at a poker room.
Mm-hmm.
And those are like the younger crowd is like the backpack and hoodies. They come in their sunglasses, they're just quiet, they just sit there and they're just mopes, and it's a terrible experience for everybody. And then you've got like the older regs they're just cranky, and they're mad because their aces got cracked because they limped in instead of raising, and somebody got lucky with 7-10 off or whatever.
Time out. Do you play Hold'em?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold'em, PLO, mostly Hold'em though.
Okay. Just wanted to understand.
But yeah, so like you got those two boundaries there, and I didn't want to be either of them. But I also didn't want to I didn't want to be respected at all at the table. and you know who gets respect at a poker table? Not the loud fat guy in a loud orange shirt. Drinking and laughing and yelling about stupid things at the poker table.
Wow.
So I got this Hawaiian shirt, and I would go in there and I'd hang out and I'd be loud and boisterous and making sure the tourists are having a good time and laughing and high-fiving while they're shipping me their money. And they came to Vegas to gamble and have a good time, and as long as they're having a good time, then they had a good time and their money was well spent. And I appreciate them paying for me to go to London and Cyprus and Hong Kong and all these other places that I was able to travel with at that time.
Oh, wait. You got paid to go play poker? Or am
Or do
I...
you mean you made enough money to go travel?
I didn't like directly get paid, but
Oh.
I played a profitable game,
Oh, I see, I
entertained
see.
the tourists.
I thought you were like sponsored or something. I was like,
Oh no,
holy shit.
nothing like that. Nothing like that. I was just a winning player at the time.
I gotcha.
So, the next question is from Vivi Meowerson. His question is, can you tell Vivi to get wrecked?
That will be 500 peppers in my chat if you want.
Wow.
You got to pay for that stuff. You got to pay for it.
Yeah, you can't give that away for free.
However, Vivi Meowerson, get wrecked, you fucking nerd.
On topic of the Hawaiian shirt, Crowsphere asks, do you own only one super sweet orange Hawaiian shirt, or are there multiple? I acknowledge this may be a trade secret and respect it if he declines to answer.
Oh, the chromie. I only have the one. It's the original. However, I have a command in my chat, exclamation the shirt, and it's a link off to where I bought it on Amazon. Obviously, I bought it like 10 years ago, and the ream of fabric is slightly different now, but it's, you know, very much the same orange, just slightly different pattern because of where it's been cut on the fabric. But
Shy City asks, what does Tacos feel about missing shell jumps continuing to be allowed for 2022? Does he have a plan B for when it's illegal in 2023? When will he finally get good?
my plan is to either get good by 2023 or be super cute for when I'm in jail.
Vicencia asks, why does he think he's dumber than me? That's literally impossible.
I've
That's the last
proven that
one.
I'm dumber than Decentia.
Oh yeah?
It's proof.
How?
He's got me with Jebaited all the time.
Wow.
He tricked me into letting him be a mod, and then he's just like fart jokes all day.
Actually, a good place to end the episode is Keen's question: soft or hard shell with your tacos?
That's a tough one because I mean, I'm a big fan of street tacos, and they're generally soft shell. Unless you're getting like birria, in which case they're fried on a flat top in the fat of the meat. So they can be hard and crunchy. So yes.
Yes.
Damn.
That's a wonderful place to stop.
What about the cheesy gordita crunch at Taco Bell?
Oh damn,
Oh.
dude, that's so good.
It's hard and soft.
Do you like Taco Bell?
If I have my druthers, I'm not gonna go there. But if it's like 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm drunk and I want tacos, yeah, sure.
Druthers? What is this word?
It's a Midwestern thing, I guess. If I had my druthers, like I
A
would rather.
person's preference
druther.
in a matter. Druthers. It's also a in-store shopping. What the hell? It's a shopping center for clothing.
We're learning
Druthers.
all these new words.
Druthers. High quality clothing. Great selection. Can't say enough about the service.
So it's an informal North American noun. A druthers is a person's preference in a matter. If I had my druthers, I would prefer to be a writer.
That's what I got.
Unfortunately, I live in the sticks and do not know how to write.
That's a great place to end. I'm gonna thank you guys so much for listening, and I want to thank Tacos for being on the podcast this week.
Yeah, it was
I
great.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
inviting me.
Yeah, all of Taka's links as well as our links will be down in the description below. You'll be able to find his Twitter and his YouTube and his Twitch, just the whole shebang down there in the description. But if you guys don't have anything to add, I'm gonna go ahead and end it. What do you guys?
Thanks for listening. See you next time.
Yeah, next time we'll be with Chess WC. That
The
should
Bosch
be a fun
himself.
one. Yeah, the Bosch himself.
I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks again, guys.
Yep,
Appreciate
see
it.
ya.